Ok, buen día, bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Welcome to the Rincón de Profe Jeff. It's good to have you with us today. We're having a kind of a different experience today on our episode. I've got here a friend and student, Eduardo. Eduardo, welcome.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Okay. Eduardo is a student here at NMSU. We met last semester, I think, right?
Last semester.
It's gone by fast, but Eduardo was in my translation class, and is maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself, what you study, where you work, what your goals are.
I'm currently double majoring here at MSU, majoring in linguistics and Spanish, español.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your trabajo de sueño, or what's the future hold for Eduardo?
Pues a mí, I,
Español está bien,
ajá, está bien.
whatever you want to do.
Me gustaría ser este profesor así de español.
Okay.
Ajá. Pero así como a nivel universitario.
Universitario, so
Ujú.
más escuela en el futuro.
Exactamente.
Cool. Excellent. So as I've been starting these podcasts, one of the things that I thought would be fun would be to introduce students to things that maybe we haven't tried. And so I saw Eduardo a couple of weeks ago, right? And
Yeah.
said, "Hey, I want to do this episode on mate."
Mm-hmm.
And you had heard of mate,
Yeah.
and where have you heard it before?
Funny enough, you know where I've seen it? I've seen it with soccer players, like Argentinian soccer players.
Okay.
They're always like on their social medias and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're always like preparing it.
They always got one of these things.
Mm-hmm.
This one's fancy, but so they're always drinking it. Have
Yeah.
you tried it in other forms though?
No, I haven't
Okay,
tried it. This is gonna be my first time trying mate.
awesome. Because if you don't know, and again, this is educational purposes only, but if everybody wants to try a different form of mate than we're going to do today, you can find it in some energy drinks in places like Sprouts,
Mm-hmm.
and it says Yerba Mate on it, and so it's the liquid of what we're going to do today. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So what we're going to do real quick is go through a little bit of background. This will help us all, and we're going to go through where it comes from, talk about the countries, and then the process, and then Eduardo's going to sample some of it that we've got here.
All
All
right.
right.
Yeah.
And he won't die. We promise. But
Fingers crossed.
it'll
Fingers
be
crossed.
it'll be interesting.
I got my EpiPen ready.
Okay. All right, so first throw the map up there like we always like to do to show you where things come from, and like Eduardo just said, he sees a lot of the Argentine soccer football players with it.
Yeah.
And in case you didn't know, you or whoever's watching, uh, Lionel Messi actually has a sponsor for mate equipment. Okay.
Oh,
So
yes.
since we're not promoting anything on here, you can check it out. It's actually with Stanley,
Mm-hmm.
who does what are those cups called?
Yeah, the Stanley
The
Cup.
Stanley
Yeah,
Cup.
little
So,
strap.
so he's got one which is a mate thermos,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has a matching mate mug. And guess what color it is? What's his uniform color now for Miami?
Pink.
Pink. So
Pink.
it's all pink. I tried to get one, but they're already out of.
Sold out.
He sold out. So anyway, so mate originates from this area in Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil. So it's really something that's done in those three countries, but we have to throw in Uruguay
Mm-hmm.
because if you talk to Uruguayos, I mean Suarez,
Mm-hmm.
his teammate from Uruguay, he
Yeah.
drinks mate as well, and the traditions are a little bit different. So it's a yerba, an herb, that herbal tea that is from the Americas. So it's not Asian like all the other teas that
Mm-hmm.
came from, and it was consumed naturally by the Guarani people who live in, they're mostly in Paraguay, Brazil, and northern Argentina here. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of where it comes from. It's kind of cool to think that it has that connection with the indigenous folks from the time.
Yeah, yeah, it's keeping the traditions alive.
Yeah. So it's grown and raised down there, raised, grown, whichever word works, in big mate. They call them plantations, plantaciones, That's kind of what it looks like. And so they need moist places, and that's what those places up there are like. I remember going on a trip with some friends. We drove from Buenos Aires up to this the border with Brazil and Paraguay,
Hmm.
and we drove through this province called Corrientes, and that's where it's mostly grown. In fact, I think this is one of the marks or the brands, marca en español, right? So this map is the province of Corrientes, I believe. So anyway, we were driving along the road up there and went through, you know, mile upon mile of these mate farms. So
Nice.
and just for you, Eduardo, but
Yep.
for everybody watching, there's going to be some links in our video description that shows how it's processed and everything. So
All
it's pretty cool. Okay, so this is what typically looks like. You've probably seen the players doing that.
right. Hmm.
So the bottom thing is called a mate. Originally, it's the gourd from the mate plant.
Hmm.
This is actually a sample of what it looks like. You can kind of, if you look inside, you can see the remnants of that. This is a fancy one though, if you want to hold it up to the camera. It's got a gaucho on there. That's a souvenir from Argentina. This is the straw is called a bombilla. You'll see on your screen. This is a fancy one. It's not really made to use, but anyway, and then the yerba mate is what's inside there. Okay. It's such a popular thing in Argentina that, I mean, you can go, these are souvenir ones, but they have whole mate stores. You can go and buy, you know, any kind you want. And you'll see, I don't know, yeah, we can see, I gotta check the camera. You can see a variety of them here. Like they make them, this one's a souvenir one that I got when I lived in Tierra del Fuego.
Yeah.
The one that Eduardo's holding says Recuerdo de Paraguay, so it's from Paraguay. And we'll talk about that in a minute because they consume it differently than in Argentina and Uruguay. This one you might get a kick out of. You recognize that?
Boca.
Boca. So that's, I'll let you hold that one while I get this one. That's my favorite soccer team from Argentina. Let's jump out while we're doing that. Yeah, so that one's pretty cool. This one is actually one from Brazil that a former student of mine gave gave me. We might as well talk about it right
Yeah.
now. So if you want to grab the one from Paraguay, we'll talk about these two.
Yeah.
So in Brazil and Paraguay, since it's a lot hotter and more humid up there than in Argentina and Uruguay, they use instead of hot water, they'll use cold water.
Really?
And so it's kind of like our iced tea,
Yeah.
and they call it tereré.
Mhm.
In Brazil, it has a different name, and I don't know what it is. I should have done my homework. But obviously, you can see. I mentioned it to you before, and you said that sounds refreshing, right?
Yeah.
Because
No, it does.
I'll get the picture up here.
Yeah, because you're saying that they infuse it with other flavors, right?
Right.
It's not just like the mate itself.
Right. So here's a picture of tereré in Paraguay. They infuse it with maybe orange juice and some mint. I've seen it with mint. And of course it's ice water. And so you pour that in there and then you'll suck it through the straw is called a bombilla. We around here we call them popotes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you see that it has the strainer on the bottom.
Yeah.
And you suck the water through there. So it's fun to see the different ways they do it.
Yeah.
Let me see what other pictures we have up here. Yeah. So yeah, in Argentina, when you're driving around, even if you're downtown Buenos Aires or wherever, you'll see these machines. They're hot water dispenser machines. Some of them charge. This one doesn't because it's by the company that has the mate.
Mm-hmm.
And all you have to do is take your thermos up, and after you filled up your car with gas, fill up your thermos with hot water, and you're good to go.
There you go. Fuel for the car, fuel for you.
Yeah. It's funny. I just had this thought because when you ride on the buses in Argentina, whether it's around town or between cities,
Mhm.
that the person who sits behind the driver's seat
Mm-hmm.
is responsible for making sure the driver always has mate in his hand. So you got to
See,
know.
that's a good co-pilot role right there.
Yeah, it's funny.
I'm gonna have to start implementing that in my road trips.
Yeah, whoever's shotgun has to be the mate provider.
Mm-hmm.
So this is in Uruguay, just to show you a little bit difference. So they're more mobile in Uruguay with all of their equipment. So you see this guy hanging out in the park with his thermos and mate. And this next picture is I don't have one of my own, but I saw it all over Uruguay when I went. Of course, mopeds are a big and motorcycles are a big thing, and when there's two people on there, the
Mm-hmm.
back person's got the mate. Imagine that.
You're just
You're
cruising.
driving along in this place, she'd be at the stoplight or something. Here's your mate, take your shot, and away you go. Cool. So real quick, we're gonna just talk about Tereré and then we'll get into testing. All right, you ready for that?
Yes.
All right. So we talked about in Brazil and in Paraguay. This is the equipment they use there. It's a jarra, which we saw in that picture, the jarro.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of a mate, this is the mate in all those other countries. They
Yeah.
call it a guampa. You notice it's a little different shape.
Yeah.
Yes. So that one just looks like a regular cup,
Yes.
whereas
So,
these kind of have the bulb in the middle or something like that. And it's just because they're doing it with the cold water. And of course, there's the bombilla that's traditional. So
then you're saying that they do it with cold water.
cold
Right?
water, ice. It's usually got ice in it. I mean
Alright.
that. I think I want to. I've never tried tereré.
Mm-hmm.
We might have to do another thing and try it with tereré because essentially you can come up with whatever you want
Yeah.
to put in it. And really with regular mate, we'll jump out. We're done with pictures, I think. With regular mate, you can actually add whatever else you'd like into it too.
Okay.
So yeah, just to tell you a funny experience that I had with it when I was living in Argentina, because you know that. Well, maybe you don't, but let's talk about what's in mate.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me before, is it got caffeine or?
Yeah.
So it's got something in it called mateina,
Mm-hmm.
which is because it's the mate plant.
Yeah.
Some people say it's about 5 times as much as a cup of coffee, and you'll get a kick out of this story because when I wasn't feeling, I had a resfrio, estaba resfriado,
Mm-hmm.
and El Gaucho on this that we were visiting
Yeah.
said, "Hey, what's up?" I said, "I'm not feeling too good." He said, "Well, come on in Espanol, because in Argentina there's a little different accent." He said, "Vení, vení, vamos a." So he went inside and he got out. In Argentina, we call him a pomelo,
Mm-hmm.
which is a toronja,
Yeah.
the grapefruit. So he cut off the top and he took a fork and mashed up all the stuff inside.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't drain anything out, didn't poke a hole in the bottom or anything. And then he loaded it up with some of the yerba mate,
Mm-hmm.
the stuff inside. He grabbed a bombilla, sugared it up, and then said, "Drink that." And so I did it, and he filled it up again. I did it again, and lo and behold, it gave me a little shot, so I got through the rest of the day without a problem. Then I sat there thinking about it after. I said, so I just had, I don't know how much caffeine, energy drink,
Yeah.
plus all the vitamin C,
Mm-hmm.
and it shot my cold out. So anyway, there we go.
That's cool.
All right. So again, we're not doing promotion for any particular brand. This is what I bought. A lot of people wonder where you can get it. It used to be really hard to get, but now Amazon has everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I ordered all this stuff from Amazon. So you can, if you feel like you want to get your own, either you or folks out there.
Yeah.
I got these little cups. They're like $8 or $9 a piece.
Okay.
So it's doable.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna have Eduardo try some of each. So if you want to hold up the red bag there, Eduardo, this is called mate con palo, and I'll hold it up. This is what it looks like. you can see the palo is just means it has stems, so they add stems from the plant into it as well, as long with the chopped up leaves. Okay, so that'll be the first one we try, and that's the most traditional kind.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to get the blue bag now, and I'll hold up that one too. That's mate sin palo, so it doesn't have any of the stems in it. So you can see the, if you can see on camera, I don't know, but Eduardo can sure tell the difference. It's mostly the leaves.
Yep.
And then the final one, if you want to grab the orange, obviously because it's orange, it means it has naranja. And when I was living in Argentina, this didn't exist. It was either con palo or sin palo. This one looks like it has palo in it, and on the package it's orange. They've added some orange flavor to it. I'm assuming it's probably the orange peel. Can you smell orange in there?
Let me see.
It smells a little bit orange.
Yeah, you definitely get some citrus zest.
Some of the citrus dust and aroma. Okay, cool. So what we've done, and this is what's a little bit cool about the tradition. You see people just doing it on their own, like we saw the guy on the park bench. I remember one of my first exposures to it was before I lived in Argentina. I saw a guy, I was on a camp out, and he was reading a book and drinking his mate in the morning. I asked him about it. He said, oh, it's a drink from the gauchos. But the most common way to do it is like a group, or your family or a group of friends will get around the table and you'll have one mate, one mate jug with mate leaves, and one person will be in charge of pouring the water, and then they'll pass it around. You would drink, and then he's done, then it'll come back, then I'd refill it, ask if you want sugar, I'd put on the sugar, and then we'd pass to the next person. It goes, the same thing goes round and round and round, and that process could probably take, it goes on for a couple hours. But what's cool about it is what happens while you're doing it. You just sit there and chat.
Yeah.
You're just hanging out. You might watch a soccer game, drinking mate.
There you
go. Everybody's going to talk about politica and just what happened in the day. So that's part of the tradition that goes along with mate. So, all right. Well, you ready?
Yeah. I'm
okay.
ready.
So we're going to get Eduardo's reaction to the con palo.
Okay, con palo.
Con palo, and I'll be pouring the water in, and I did a little bit of warning before to him, so if you're going to try it for your first time, there's a lot of dust involved, polvo, but it's mate polvo, so it'll be a little bit gritty because the bombilla may not sift it all out.
Yeah.
Filter it all out. That's the word I'm looking for. Colar in Espanol. So the first little bit might be a little dusty, but then you'll have the taste of it. And I'm interested to see what your first, because you've never tried it this way, right?
Never.
All right. So we'll put some water in here. I'll tell you that when my dad saw it and I was sharing it with him, this isn't the easiest thing to pour out of, but he thought it was alfalfa. He said, that smells like alfalfa. So you see that the first little bit soaks up a lot of the water, so we're going to get it in there. And you don't fill the thing all the way up to the top. You just make sure the very top of the mate is floating. See how it started to float?
Yeah.
So try not to stir the thing around a lot.
Okay.
And go for it. See what you think.
First time trying mate. Let's go.
Provecho. Or salud.
Salud.
Both. Hopefully it's not too hot.
That's good.
Did you get some polvo? A little bit? So while he's drinking, there's a whole language, and in the video description below, there's going to be a video on the language of mate, because there are words that mate largo, mate corto, whether you do it with sugar, without sugar. I mean, it's like they're psychologists with mate. So
they're psychoanalyzing everybody.
Yeah. Okay. What's your first reaction? What do you taste? What do you,
Wow, this one, like, it's very similar to tea in certain ways, but
okay.
it's a little bit more piney. Like, I feel like,
Piney?
yeah, and it might be just because it has palos,
The
right?
palo?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this one, it is like overall, it has more of a piney flavor.
Is it overwhelming or
No,
no?
it's actually very. It's like the flavor itself is very subtle.
Pretty smooth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like I imagined it was gonna be like coffee that had like a very pronounced flavor, but
So
it's
you don't think it's bitter at all?
mm,
Maybe
I,
a little bit?
just like a little bit, but
Okay.
like as far as bitterness, it's like coffee is just like a different extreme from this.
So do you enjoy coffee?
Yeah,
Okay. So I was watching a video earlier prepping for this.
yeah.
If you need, yeah, get a drink if you need one. Some people pour coffee in latte. So you can imagine the zing you'll get
Yeah.
from that. So yeah, it had a lot of dust. You want to try it again? With now that all the dust is gone?
Yeah, now it's settled.
Do you want to add some sugar? We should have done that before, but
No, see, I wanted to get like the flavor of it
okay.
by itself.
Try it one more time and then we'll do the other two. And then if you want, we can add sugar to whichever one you think
Okay,
you want to try again. Does that sound good?
that sounds fine.
Okay.
I feel like the sugar's gonna be good with the orange flavor.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Better the second time?
mm-hmm.
Not as much potable?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I know, um, so you said you like coffee.
Yeah.
How much would you say you drink in a day?
At least 3 cups.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's typical of this, sometimes it's just a nighttime tradition, but
Mm-hmm.
some people get up and while they're doing their morning stuff, they have their mate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some people have mate and like a pastry for breakfast or bread with something on it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Con panecito, ¿eh?
yep, panecito, dulces. So is that one better? That
Yeah.
second one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it definitely went down smoother.
It takes a little bit. So you can see, like, if you're doing it in a group, probably the first couple of people get all the polo, and then by the time the third one comes around.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, because we're trying three different ones, you're going to be hit with a lot of polo.
Mm-hmm.
You good with that?
That's fine.
Okay. So this next one is going to be the one that was sin palo.
Mm-hmm. Sin
Okay. So it might be, if we go by what the tendency is, con palo is a little more mild.
Mm-hmm.
Sin palo should be a little stronger, but you'll tell me.
Okay.
Okay. Since it's just leaves, it might take a little bit more water to get it soaked in.
And then you just like it's ready when it's just floating.
Yeah. See how it kind of just sucked it all up in there?
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a paste.
Mm-hmm.
No. I can already smell it. It smells stronger than the other. One of the things about whether you do it with sugar or without,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the language of mate, they say without sugar is más macho.
Más macho.
This one's soaking up a lot, so probably more than that last one. Okay. There you go. You don't have to drink it all if you don't want to.
Okay.
And be ready for the polvo.
Yeah, this one's definitely like a little gritty. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even the leaves itself they seem to be ground up more, right?
Yeah.
So, and part of it might be the bombilla, because this is the one that we're using now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got tiny holes, but probably not. So do you think our observation was right with it is it? Do you feel like it's a stronger taste than the first one, or
This one, like the flavor of this one, it's definitely like a little bit more bitter.
okay?
But the flavor, like the flavor difference that I noticed, is this flavor kind of like it lingers, it like stays on your
Okay,
tongue. Yeah. The other one was just kind of like you got the bitterness and it just kind of
it's gone.
dissipated. But this one, yeah, like it, you
A
still
little
taste
more
it.
staying power,
Mm-hmm.
huh? All right,
That's good.
good. You
Yeah.
like it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you want to try it again, or you want to go on to the next one?
I'll try that one
Try it
again.
one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get rid of the polvo.
Exactly.
All right, there you go. No, I don't think I thanked you for this. Is not something everybody wants to do, so I'm glad you were willing to try it with
Yeah.
us.
I'm surprised people don't want to do it. Like this, like it just looks like whenever I see them making it, like the like soccer players and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it just looks very like handmade, like very artisan. Like
Arson,
yeah, like it just looks like a process, and I don't
yeah,
know.
and I think that's what's cool about
Yeah.
it with the process, and they're doing it at soccer practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a natural energy drink, with trying to think of, you see all the people drinking Red Bull and stuff.
Yeah. The Celsius things are bad.
Less polvo.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's good.
Okay, so
Yeah,
out
I like
of
it.
the first two, which one would you? We're gonna do this with all three, but
Mm-hmm.
you can compare it with the which has your vote so
Um,
far, number one or two?
so far, number one, that's my favorite right there.
Okay, a little smoother.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that was Sin Palo. All right. Now we're gonna try the one with the little orange flavor in it. How's the water? Is it too cold or
No,
hot?
it's warm.
Okay. So it may not be the best temperature, and I don't know how you like your coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like it really hot, some people don't.
Yeah, I like it where I don't burn my tongue.
Yeah.
That's
So that's another thing when you're prepping your water.
mm-hmm.
You want to keep a watch on it
Yeah.
and make sure that you don't let it boil. So you just turn it off. You know how when you're watching it in a pan, you can see the little bubbles forming.
Yeah.
But you don't want it to get into a rolling boil, or else you'll be sorry. You'll burn your mouth.
Yeah, especially with drinking it out of a straw, it's gonna go
A
great.
metal straw, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing that I was like, I'm gonna drink a hot drink out of a metal straw. I can smell the orange.
Ooh. I'm just a fan of like citrus, like anything like tea.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Now, while you're trying it, you can also, even I saw this. We saw the tereré fusions where you put it with some
Mm-hmm.
juice, but I saw people squeeze, orange and lemon, and of course the experience about the grapefruit. So
Mm-hmm.
you can squeeze any kind of juice. You can put any kind of sweetener you like.
Yeah.
Honey is popular, brown sugar, the regular white sugar.
Yeah, this one it
Can you
has
can you taste the orange?
yeah, and it's more of like a tangerine flavor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it has like that I don't know like that citrusiness, but like it's also like a dash of bitter at the end.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
A little bit of staying power.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
You like that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Should we do a second so you can? Was there as much polo in this one as the others?
I think I got used to like
You got used to it.
yeah,
So the first thing is the shot of polo.
exactly. Can we put some sugar in that one?
Yeah. You want to? Why don't you take out the water that's left, because to get the sugar in, suck what's in there out.
Okay.
We'll put the sugar in and then pour the water in, because that makes it. Sorry, I didn't fill it all the way. So then I'll let you put however much sugar you want in.
Yeah, but like this tastes like something you would find like at a farmer's market or
Oh,
something.
cool. Maybe not in Las Cruces, but
Mm,
in Argentina.
yeah.
I don't know if it's made its way. I mean, I'm sure people in Mexico, and I've never seen it in Costa Rica.
No.
But
Yeah, because as far as like my experience like in Mexico, like I haven't seen it.
oh, but they're somebody asked me if it's similar to Yerba Buena,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it does, maybe it is. I don't think Yerba Buena is consumed as frequently as like this,
Mm-hmm.
like coffee, but you know, it does. Yerba Buena, I know people drink to settle stomach issues
Yeah.
and things like that. I think I found a video on medicinal uses for mate,
Mm-hmm.
so it has antioxidants and things in it. So, all right,
All
I'll
right.
let you put however much, usually a teaspoon or half a teaspoon, just put on top, and then we'll pour the water on top, and
Yeah, I don't think it'll need too
then
much.
it'll diffuse down through.
It's perfect right there.
That's what's fun too. You can sit there and try and try and try.
Yeah, like the first one was too much sugar. Second one was too little sugar.
And that's one thing that really I like the smell. I can smell it from
Yeah.
here. That's one thing, and when you're in a group, whoever is drinking will say, "Oh, that was too sweet,"
Mm-hmm.
and so not as much sugar. But you can tell that since it's all infusing right there, that if somebody gets a sugar hit, then the next one maybe they won't want it because it's less sweet.
Yeah.
So did the sugar make it in?
Yeah, it did. It's good. It's good with the sugar.
Huh?
Yeah, it gave it like a whole other dimension right
You're looking like a natural now.
there.
Like you've been doing it for years, Eduardo.
I'm telling you, next semester you can see me carrying this around.
You'll be like the guy we saw with the thermos in his backpack.
Never leave home without it.
That's good.
I know she was gonna have to start installing those hot water thingies.
On campus somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll put one by my office.
Perfect.
All right, so now you've done the this is con palo and naranja.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did the sin palo and the regular con palo. Of the three, which is your favorite?
It's gonna be this last one, the orange.
Okay.
The orange is the best one right there.
And do you prefer it with or without this sugar?
Macho without sugar.
Macho.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's a good way to put it. Macho. All right. Well, so does this seem like something that, I mean, you just mentioned I'm going to see it around with your own thermos and mate?
Yeah.
Cool. That's so you can be like the guys like the Messi and the Suarez and whoever else.
Exactly. McAllister.
McAllister, yeah. I mean, you could watch the Selección Argentina and they're all doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, cool. All right, Eduardo. Well, thanks for being. I don't want to say guinea pig because you did it willingly,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like you enjoyed it,
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
except for the polvo part.
Yeah, see, it's because those the learning pains right there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No,
But
but
afterwards,
we all got to go through that part
Mhm.
with the polvo. So,
exactly.
well, I hope you guys enjoyed spending the time with Eduardo and I today, experiencing mate for the first time
Mm-hmm.
and not the last. So, until next time, adios.